What's up, fellas? This week we're back with Dana White's Contender Series Week 3, how to bet it. And to get us kicked off here, we're going to start off with the first fight of the night. Robbie Ring going against Luis Pehula. And the first thing is, we look at Robbie Ring's record. I'll pull it up for you guys so you can see. Dude's fighting nobody. 0-3, 0-0, 0-2, 1-0, 8-6. Jacob Kilburn here, who was in the UFC. So that is a legit win. And then another 0-0 guy. So he literally has one creditable win on his record. Going against Luis Pehula here, who is a little bit better. 7-4 making his debut. 3-0, 6-15. 2-0 losing to Mike Davidson. Don't know who that is, but oh well. At least these fighters have actual wins compared to Robbie Ring. But nonetheless, Robbie is 23 years old, and he seems like he's been training for a long time. I looked at his Instagram, and he's been in an MMA gym since 2014. So what does that make? That's like 9 years of his life he's been in an MMA gym and committed enough to post like stuff about it on socials. He's been a black belt for 3 years, which is good to see. I believe he also does like combat jiu-jitsu, so good to see. And then on the other side here, how Luis fights. Luis just kind of seems like a brawler to me. Kind of like a tough guy and just swings. And I don't like the matchup very well for him because of the massive grappling advantage I give to Robbie. And I believe Robbie can win this fight on the feet, but his best path to victory is to implement some grappling and get the win. The pick here is Robbie by sub. We will get the odds, and for some reason the sub line's not posted, but I found it on other books, and it's sitting around like plus 140, plus 150. And for the money line, Robbie's a minus 192 favorite. That's a little wide just because of how unproven he is. Like, he's fighting nobodies, and Luis is plus 160, but I really think he's the side here. Not going to be banging on his money line. And we look at the other props. We see Robbie by KO plus 500. Robbie by sub plus 150. And I actually do like the KO line there at plus 500. It seems a little off to me, given that Robbie's won 5 of his 6 fights by KO. Yeah, 5 of 6 fights by KO. So at plus 500, that's on paper the most likely path for him to win. And 0.25 units I'm going to have on that. Since Luis does leave openings on the seat, maybe live for like a ground and pound TKO, but club and sub is on the table. So I do, and then I believe the way Luis wins his fight is by knockout. So I do like the fight doesn't go to decision line at minus 250, and I think that is parlayable. For our next fight of the night, we have the second women's fight of the year between Isis Verbeek and Josephine Knutson. And start us off here, Isis seems like a Instagram fighter, but so let's break it down from a skill perspective. And both of these women have some experience in fighting outside of MMA. I do believe Knutson's experience is probably better because it was kickboxing compared to Isis, who was doing like bare knuckle and boxing and other stuff like that. So I do like that Knutson was doing kickboxing. And I also believe that Josephine Knutson was training at a better gym at All Stars MMA with guys like Khamzat Chimaev, Gustafsson, all those guys, compared to Isis Verbeek, who's training at Team Biggie Boy. Lol. And then in their MMA records, Josephine is facing a better strength of competition. She's also winning all of them at 5-0, while Isis lost to a fighter that is now 3-3. And how this fight plays out, I have to guess this fight stays on the feet. And on the feet, I favor kickboxing and Josephine to be winning minutes probably. But for what I've seen, Isis is kind of wild and is live probably to knock her out here. She's also the bigger fighter. I do suspect Josephine to be a big favorite. We look at the odds and we see Josephine minus 270 and Isis plus 220. That's about where I expected it. But as for betting, this is a dog or pass fight for me. I'm not going to bet it, but Isis is probably live here at such a high number in women's MMA. Good luck to you if you're going to bet it, but I'm not. On to the next fight. We have Oban Elliott going against Khalik Brito. Brito has won all 16 of his wins by finish, 13 by KO and 3 by sub. And on the Oban side, Oban has been knocked out twice in both of his losses. And I believe both of these guys have questionable cardio as well. As for a pick, I'm much more impressed with Brito, and I think he knocks Oban out brutally. And we look at the odds, and we see Brito as a minus 175 favorite, and Elliott at plus 135. There's no... And honestly, I thought it would be wider, given such a clear path to victory here. We look at the lines, we see Brito inside the distancing at minus 110. That's interesting, but I'm not going to bet it. Brito by KO at plus 115. Interesting, but a little chalky for my taste. Sub at plus 700. That's interesting because there is a potential path that Elliott takes him down, but Brito's very dangerous off his back, and maybe he gets a sub. But in the round 1 prop sitting at plus 250, that's interesting as well if you're into that. But how I'm going to bet this fight is I'm going to put 0.75 units on Brito round 1 or 2, sitting at plus 110. You could cover that with Oban by decision, since Brito is 0-3 in decisions, and I do believe that's how Oban wins this fight, but I'm not going to cover it here. Moving on to the main event, we have Eli Aronov going against Zachary Reese. This is a striker versus grappler matchup. And something that has to be noted here is Zachary Reese has a massive size advantage. I mean massive. He's 6'3" compared to Eli Aronov, who is barely 5'10". And as for like a skill perspective, Eli has a wrestling background and has been fighting pro MMA since 2018. And we see on Zachary Reese's side, he made his amateur debut in 2012 and lost to Kevin Holland. So I believe Zachary has been training for a long time and is probably a pretty good martial artist. We have not seen Reese tested very much for a grappling perspective, since in his 5 fights, 3 of them ended in the first minute, and the other 2 were also in the first round. And this guy's just going out there starching people. Somebody tries to take him down and he just hits a Kimura quick. We have not seen very much at all. What's concerning in this matchup is, if I were to give Eli a cop, it would be Jacob Malkoon. And what does Jacob Malkoon do? He takes people down and sits on them like a blanket and makes a boring fight. I do believe Reese is the much more flashy fighter here, and he will knock out Eli early. And the UFC probably prefers if he wins, and this is probably a setup fight for him, but Eli has a clear path to victory if he wrestles, so I'm quite cautious. And it's not an if, I believe he will wrestle. As for a pick, I'm going with Reese round 1 KO. We look at the odds and see KO line sitting at plus 200, the sub line at plus 300, round 1 at plus 200, and the Reese under 1.5 at plus 140. Round 1 or 2 for Reese at plus 110, and by finish at minus 105. I do think the fight doesn't go to decision at minus 330 is parlayable as well, But as for like which of these props stand out to me, prop that stands out the most is Reese round one at plus 200. I just believe that's his win condition. If he gets taken down, I believe Ellie could very well finish him just because of he could potentially be like a fish down there. Like we saw Dennis Tululin get taken down last weekend and like just get his guard pass straight away and then like not even know how to defend, like lay there like a fish and get elbowed twice. Reese might do that here. I have no idea. So that's why I'm going with a small bet of a quarter unit on Reese round one, so again plus 200. I like that better than the KO prop because it does give you the equity of a sub, like maybe he lands a guillotine or something like that, but I don't think it happens. For my parlay of this week, I have the fight doesn't go to decision in the Reese versus Aronov fight at minus 330, parlayed up with fight doesn't go to decision in the Ring versus Puella fight at minus 250, and the odds on that parlay come out to minus 120. So good luck